So we are kind of last minute. I did have a tablet set up to live stream and it decided to die moments before, so it won't power on. So I had to switch over to my garage computer, which is very old. So hopefully it will stream okay. So let me know how the quality is, if there's any issues. And I'm gonna wait for a few moments so we can wait for a few people to get in here, because that's who it's really for. And so if you are who you know you should be, definitely hit me up in the comments. Just say, hey, I am here. Give me a thumbs up or send me a text message, so that way I know that you're here. And I'm looking over there because my screen is actually way behind on the monitor, so I'm not ignoring you. All right. So this is the beautiful piece of opal that we're going to be cutting into, and it's massive. It's got some beautiful color in there. And this part we're not touching, because you can see here opal forms kind of on sand, and you get these little opal layers, opal bars that form in the rock, and it's settling on it, and the silicon oxides, all the other stuff that I know absolutely nothing about, makes the pretty part. And what we are after today is, focus there, that bar right there. So that's the treasure we are trying to discover here, and we will be cutting at an angle along here because we want to save this. This is a nice pretty place. There's a few fractures in there, but we'll be able to turn that into quite a few pieces. This part up here is quite fractured and broken up, but I still love it. So we are still going to try to save it. We have a pretty thick bar in between there, and my blade on my 6-inch saw is probably 1/4 millimeter. So it will slice pretty thin, pretty true. So I'm hoping that it doesn't crumble and break and crack and we wreck both sides. It's always a chance with opal, but that's half the adventure. So we're hoping that that is the most beautiful color bar we've ever seen in opal in our life. But of course, there's never any guarantees. So no comments yet. I'm just going to message someone to see if they're on, and if we don't get a response, we'll just move on the way and they'll have to watch it after the fact. All right. Okay. So 2 people on there. Do we have any questions so far on what we're doing here, or you're just here to watch me wreck a beautiful piece of opal? I'm doing that. I'm just going to move my saw over. Okay, so you can see me, you can hear me okay? We're good to go? If you want to message me back on the old-fashioned mobile, we'll get rolling here. We are good to go. So this is the fun, exciting part, the opal treasure hunting per se. So this, we're going to try to get as close as we can and try to get it to focus. You're going to see in here, there's these white lines. Those are fractures going through the opal, and they run over a few spots. And I love the colors in there. I'll try to get it, but we've got blues, we've got greens, we've got purples, we've got orange, we've got red. It's pretty much the entire rainbow in there, all in different sections. So that part we're definitely going to keep. What we're after is this color bar that goes, let me just trace it out here. It goes down there and then runs up. So that bar is what we're trying to uncover and hopefully reveal the perfect opal. And on the other side, you can see that it runs kind of at a curve up. So it's a tricky one. It's not a flat bar. It actually curves up into the rock. So we're going to cut pretty much from that side to this side. Grab my ruler. If we were to be in that, so I want to again kind of keep this dragon scale-ish part. I know most people say, well, it's just a bunch of fractured, but there's not a ton of color, but there's still color in that. And if you get it at the right angle, to me, it just looks like a dragon's back. It's beautiful, and I want to try to keep it, so we're going to try to salvage it, but that could be a mistake. So we're just going to cut straight line pretty much down through there. Pencil doesn't work great on opal, so let me switch over to something a little bit more harsh. So there's our initial cut. We're pretty much going to go right down through, and then that way we have our potential little dragon stone that we can turn into something. This beautiful piece here that is just all sandbar underneath. There's a little bit of opal in the sand, but I would probably grind it down because no one wants a pendant or anything that's that thick. Sorry, it's really dark. Someone say, okay, I'm trying to get it brighter in here. Let's see if we can switch this. Sometimes we'll add the contrast. We'll see. Nope. Fortunately, that's about as bright as I got right now without putting a bunch more lights in here, which we might have to do if it gets really bad. So we are going to cut this guy up. Right now, a little bit awkward, a little bit worried, but let's see what we can do here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. About as good as you're going to get on that. Hopefully the lighting's a little bit better. I can swing that down. If you zoomed in, we might be able to see it. So. All right, so we'll see if we can do it with the light here. So there's the good piece, and flip the light up. This light, unfortunately, will bleed it out a little bit too much for me to get close. Come on, zoom. There we go. So there's the good piece, and where we cut, you can see there's a little bit of fractures, and that's how delicate opal is. Like even with the saw that was super fine, still as soon as you get to it, it doesn't take much and it just starts to fracture. So it can be so temperamental, and you can get away with a lot sometimes, but all it takes is a little bit, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a chunk of opal that is now all fractured and foggy, and you cannot recover that. You're pretty much lost that piece. So there's a good one. We're going to save that one. What we're going to do now is the fun, scary part, which is try to get this guy down to the point where we can start revealing this color bar. But we're going to try to save this top piece first. So we're going to try to cut at an angle up to save as much of this as possible. So wish me luck. Here we go. So there we go. There's the top dragon scale piece, and that is how thin we went with it. So super thin, but that's all we need. And it actually crumbled off some of the top, and it is actually revealing even more opal. Again, I'll try to stay in the light. So there's even more play of color now that we've done that. So I might actually try to take that down even further, because there is some color hiding in there that is just gorgeous. So there's one potential piece all on its own. We'll set that aside because now we're on to the fun part. We've got our chunk here, which is pretty much a wave of opal that's running along, and based off of the color, again, going to be super hard. Let me flip this over. I'll try to do the best for the poor lighting I have here. So there's the opal, but you can see a faint more color on this bottom side than you can the top side. So I'm going to come down this way on it because I'm hoping I'm going to get more flash from the one side. If I go the other side and all the colors on the bottom and I take that off, we're just going to have white stone with no open rest. Now we're going to switch over, and I'm just going to use my drum center, but first I'm going to actually cut this guy again down here. And this color bar wraps itself up around here. So there's no point in me grinding down all this point. So I'm going to take off where is no chance of being opal, which is this line pretty much that wraps around. Again, color, there we go. So this line right here is where the opal seeped down through the rock. So all this dark ground brownie paste is nothing. There's no opal in there. So we would be just working with that for no real reason. So we're going to cut along here, and then we have our potentially piece of opal, a beautiful, perfect color. We're going to cross our fingers. So mark some lines here, and then we'll cut that up, and then we'll start grinding away. Really start trying to find some treasure here. there's the bottom piece, and you can see it's already sparkling right from there. Keep adjust with lighting. I really need better lighting in here to truly show off opals and stuff. There we go. So there you can see there's already, from the top side of the bar where this goes through, there is a lot of color kind of shining through. You get some wetness on it and it just totally pops. But like I said, we're gonna go top side down, and this is where it gets super exciting. So I'm gonna change the camera to focus on the drum over here. That way you can see the action there as best as possible. We're actually going to come out a little bit. I think the lighting will actually be better. So I will just come and show you a little bit more often. And that way. All right, so let's switch over to 220. Water. Before I do that, I'm just gonna take it over the diamond lap first here. That way I can just actually smoothen out the outside edges so I can see this bar a little bit better to make a better call. Because one way I see greens and oranges, the other way I'm seeing blues and darkers, which would be brilliant if we could achieve that. So let's take a better peek before we start deciding on the direction there. Let's see if we can get some focus there. Come on. Again, my poor lighting. Light burns it out. So there we can, again, it's so hard to see, but you can see more of that green streaming on the bottom side. And I like that. Oh, it's kind of a 50-50. I think we're going to Yeah, we're gonna work from the top side here and go down. That's gonna be our first choice. And we are gonna see if we're gonna live to regret that. So I'm gonna do it on the diamond lap. This is actually much harder than I thought it would be. So I'm just gonna try to get it as thin as possible before I go to the sanding, take it down to getting within a millimeter of the Opal bar. And then we'll switch to the drum just because it's not a flat surface. So I can't just use a diamond lap for it. We're gonna have to do it at an angle, and the drum's gonna be better for that. All right, I'm just gonna cut the tip off here. The bar runs up right around there, so I'm gonna either have to grind all the way down, but I'm gonna try to take it off right there because you never know, you might be able to salvage a little piece of Opal even from that. So we will give it a shot. Even this small piece, again, let's see how far we can zoom in. So that one right there, there's actually two. You need a macro camera, this stuff is so small. There's actually two little color bars in there. One's a beautiful purple, and that's the one that was went to the top side. This is the start of the one that we're cutting into, and there's a good amount of green and looks like a little bit of orange in that one. So I'm hoping to see more purple because that is the fun color. So go back over the diamond lap and away we go. I've got it fairly thin there. Do this for driving me a little bonkers. I don't know how much cable I'll have. But one sec here, I'm just trying to wreck my camera. All right, hopefully that changes it a little bit. So there is just the top peeking out, and there's already some good color on it. Bring it up. So that's just the start of it, peeking out. We're getting pretty close. So it has so many curves to it that I might even have to use a Dremel to follow the band. So we'll bring it down and see how close we can get. Seems fairly straight there, but we might not be able to do it all in one piece. We might actually have to cut it a few times whenever it does a bow or an arc change, because if it's a concave, I won't be able to get it without wrecking the thickest part, which is actually on the outside here. So this is what we're aiming for, is this bar right on the outside corner, because that's where all the good stuff is. Just a little too hard. So it is slow going just because I do not want to wreck that bar. But I do notice that I can try to switch you actually over to my other tripod here. So give me a quick second. Attempt to do this with all the cords and everything. And I'm hoping I can get you close enough to actually see what's going on. All right, we're doing a kind of a makeshift job here, and we'll see if we can get away with it. We are going to use there you go. Hopefully that is a little bit better. just ever such starting to peek through the top now. So you can see the opal starting to peek through that top piece, and it is quite arched and not even. So I'm going to actually grab my Dremel and I'm going to just pull the surface down so I'm more on the edge of the opal bar on both sides, and I want to kind of peek from both and see which one's going to offer the best color. I love the color already here, so we'll reveal a little bit more, and if it looks good, we'll just keep on going on that side. There are some fractures in there which concern me that it might fracture all the way, but until you get it open, you just don't know. So if that helps with the camera. So close yet so far away. All right, there's a few parts here. I'm just going to quickly take it over to my diamond lap here. All right, so that's kind of what I was expecting it to happen. There was that fracture right in the middle, and that's where it ended up cracking. So now we've got two separate pieces, and this is the one we're going to focus on for two reasons. It's smaller, and then we can also get to it quicker and hopefully be able to reveal if we go one side, is it going to look good? And if it's not the greatest, then for the bigger piece, we'll try the other half. So this one should move a little quicker. Thanks, Wings. We are getting close. starting to peek through little by little. Starting to get a little bit of a play of light. Yeah, I'm just going to go over the lap for a bit. There's on this far side, there's quite a bit of sand still, so I'm just going to take it down a little bit quicker so you guys aren't waiting for an hour to... All right, so there we go. We are right at the surface now. So the opal's starting to shine through. We've got some play of light there. The cameras just can barely pick it up. So we're going to keep going down. As you can see, we don't have much to go with it. It's maybe in the deepest, maybe 1.5 millimeters in thickness. And it looks like there could be a fracture in the middle too. So if we go too hard, too fast, it's just going to break apart. But we're hoping that we can get a little bit of a treasure out of this guy. So cross our fingers. This is what I was afraid of. This, based off of the top of the rock, it is pretty fragile, so it is fracturing quite easy. We did get one piece off, which Surprisingly, it's just micro, but you can still maybe turn this into something. But I'll try to go easier at it. And at this point, we're really just trying to get anything that'll hold together. We still have the thickest spot on it, so I'm really hoping it will stay together, but you never know. You can see how easily that just pops right off. It's a little too crumbly, I'm thinking, so not a high chance of getting a huge success, but you never know. I am going to go to a finer grit though, just reduce the vibrations a little bit. I think we might actually win on this one. Just take it slow, but slowly. Come on, focus. Getting a little more shine as we go down, and we have a fair amount to work with, so know it makes it a little bit harder to see, but I can now, it makes it a little easier for me to see the color plane. And then you can see a little bit of blue and purple on the left there starting to come out. So hopefully we can keep that. Now it's really starting to pop. don't know if it can do justice, but that edge is, come on, focus. It's got some beautiful color into it. Hopefully it stays together. Having a white background will help. I just have really crappy lighting, sorry. All right, let's see if we can get you a better look at this. Let's see, with or without. Let's try with. So here is, it's utterly gorgeous. It's hard to, let me try to center. Here we go. So it's got some pretty much all the colors in it. It's got yellows, greens, reds, depending on which angle you look at. And there's that kind of, it looks like a cloud on top of it. I want to take just a little bit more off just to see if I can get that color to pop out a little bit more. So it's not going to be much at this point. I'm doing it the finest grit I possibly can. And I'm going to leave the stone part up top just to kind of give it some consistency and just uniqueness, I guess, kind of going from the sandstone into the opal. And I love the contrast. So we're just going to take it a little further. I just had to fill up a little bit of my water. This thing's taken much longer than, well, about what I expected, but it never is a quick process when it comes to anything that's a gemstone quality, because you want to be cautious. So I'll point you back at it and we will keep going and see what we can turn this guy into. I know my wonderful aunt just messaged she likes it. I think so far, I'm hoping we can just get a little bit more out of it, but I already love this piece. There's some beautiful colors and I like having them mix. I don't like the perfect gemstone cab shape. I like, what is the stone offering you? Take it and make it as pretty as possible. And to me, that is better than the standard jewelry store style. So I don't know if I'm going to push this one any further. I think it's got beautiful color already. And I think if I push it much further, it's going to fracture on me. So I'm just going to take it to the 3000 and buff it up and get it all shiny. And I think that on its own is still a win for an opal that is very fragile and easily fractures. I want to leave enough of it there that it will last. So let's finish this guy up, and that'll probably be the end of the live. I don't think I have enough time. That other big chunk will probably take 2-3 hours to work on to get that one down to this stage. So we'll just finish this one up and call it a day for lives. No. And then every now and then you do something stupid and break it. Luckily, it was the sand part that broke off. So it was meant to be. We will clean that up, and it actually turns into nice diamond shape. So I'm not overly dressed. It's not, yeah, that's all just sand there. That guy is, I like the contrast, but I guess it didn't want it. Kind of call it fate. These rocks kind of speak for themselves. So it wanted more, so it will get more. I seriously think it's fake with some of these rocks, because now that I did that, I can go more on the sandbar side, and now there's even more color popping out of it. And I have a little ways to go, so I should even get more. So it's funny how things work out that way. It could still end up as a complete oops, but at this point, we are going to end up better off in the long run for having the thing drop and break. So. So not really a perfect shape of any sort, but again, here, let me switch around here. So not too bad. Lots of color in it. But gonna probably end up there for the live. I will probably still end up dopping that and then doing a polish because it's just too small. It's too easy to slip out of my hands again, and then I'll end up with a bigger mess. And sorry, oops. Tangled the cords here. Looks like I need to work on lighting as well in here. So there we go. Thanks everyone for coming for the live. It was kind of a mess, but it was fun anyway. We got our first piece of opal out of that big chunk, and there is a whole lot left for us to still cut up. So I'm sure there is weeks of fun still left in that opal and a little bit of dread, but it's half the fun. So thanks everyone for coming and watching, and it's been a blast. See you next time.